and Deakin University through DeakinCo is about creating the possibilities not just for individuals and organizations, but for the world of business. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to acknowledge the presence of His Excellency, the Honorary Barry O'Farrell, AO, Australian High Commissioner to India, and His Excellency, Shri A. Gitesh Sharma, Indian High Commissioner to Australia. I also acknowledge the presence of Professor Ian Martin, President and Vice Chancellor of Deakin University, and our very own Mr. Ram Durai, ex-Vice Chairman, TCS, who will share with us his thoughts about the skills for the workplace in the future. A very special welcome to colleagues from NASSCOM, Mr. Amit Agrawal and Mr. Shivendra and your entire team. Thank you for your support in cementing this association, which is unique, of the future. At Deakin University, we are proud to establish this partnership, and we look forward to an exciting future. And of course, not to say, and not to forget my very dear Mr. Glenn Campbell, the CEO of DeakinCo, the corporate division of Deakin University, which is pioneering skills initiatives worldwide through workplace products that are designed for the 21st century to improve performance and future employability. And thank you, Mark, for being there and doing all the support and the work for this partnership. Friends, academic knowledge and technical skills are necessary, but having professional skills relevant to the now and the future of work is even more essential, especially in these challenging times. With the advent of disruptions caused globally by technology and most recently by the pandemic, the workforce, individuals and organizations are struggling to establish a cohesive learning and development strategy that aligns with the challenges which are widening the skill gap, which are essential for growth of business. What's more, organizations are frequently finding themselves lacking the tools to evaluate these gaps and measure the effectiveness of learning and development of programs that are required to mitigate both the disruptions as well as the skill gaps. Perhaps the gaps identified are impediments to achieving our minimum standards and expectations, or maybe they offer an opportunity to turn good performance to great and achieve excellence in the areas that are important to the businesses of the future. This strategic association between DeakinCo, the corporate division of Deakin University, Australia, and NASSCOM FutureSkills presents new possibilities, not just for individuals, but for the world. The partners will aim to facilitate enabling a skill development and continuous learning framework by making available courses developed by DeakinCo on this high quality delivery platform and industry connects to enable a B2B and a B2B solution for India. Responding to the need, DeakinCo and NASSCOM FutureSkills have specially curated 2 communication courses in the first phase of the partnership at the foundation and the proficiency level in the IT-BPM sector. These programs targeted towards professionals across at various levels would be available free of cost for a period of time. The programs will be available on the FutureSkills platform, an online essential feature of self-paced consumption by the user. As a way forward, the partners will also facilitate research initiatives in the area of skilling, reskilling, upskilling for India. We are in this new normal, friends, and going forward, we believe that integrating and enhancing workplace skill, joining the experience and academic curriculum will create an efficient workforce for organizations in India and globally. I'm delighted to now welcome Mr. Amit Agrawal. Amit is Chief Executive Officer of the IT-ITES Sector Skills Council in NASSCOM, and also the co-architect for the Technology Industry Future Skills Program, which aims to reskill, upskill 4 million professionals and students in the new emerging technologies over the next 5 years, and also enhances partnership with industry, government, and academia. Over to you, Amit.
Thank you, Ravneet. Greetings, everyone. On behalf of NASSCOM, it is our pleasure to participate in this event. His Excellency, Mr. O'Farrell, His Excellency Mr. Sharma, Mr. Ramdorai, Professor Martin, Glenn, Ravneet, Shivendra, and all the guests who joined us today at this virtual launch of the partnership between Deakin University and NASSCOM FutureSkills. I'm going to spend a few minutes highlighting three interesting aspects about what we're trying to accomplish. The first is really the vision. So our vision is to make India the global hub for digital talent. If somebody is to think of digital, they should think about India, especially from my perspective where talent is concerned. And in line with that vision, we've taken a goal to skill 4 million people across the industry, across colleges, and across other industries as well. It was one of the big changes between the IT revolution that happened in the 90s and now is that every industry is becoming a tech industry. So our entire pipeline of students really need to learn these tech skills. And that's where we got started on this journey of future skills. We started really with identifying 10 technologies where we believed students and employees should learn skills to be successful in the future. Last year, however, at the industry leadership meeting, one of the big priorities that emerged was, in addition to the technical skills, it was very important to pick up the professional skills. So we actually started to coin the term from STEM to STEAM, where A is the arts inside of STEM. And we now have a huge priority going to get 8 or 9 of the typical professional skills required for success in the future baked into the Future Skills program. Things such as design thinking, collaboration, and what we're now doing with Deakin on communication. As we've built the Future Skills ecosystem, we started actually with opening up the ecosystem to our member firms. And we now have about 10% of the industry on the Future Skills platform, with employees contributing content as well as consuming content from the platform. Last year, we'd opened it up to universities. And this year, this program has been identified as one of the digital platforms of the Government of India with METI. And this platform would now be open to the citizens of the country to learn skills in these new technologies. And we're delighted that international universities have come forward to partner on this journey. Because one of the things that we're very clear about when we build an ecosystem like this, that there is so much good learning and content available across the world. And if we can make that available to our citizens to learn, that really can make a huge difference to affordable, credible, and trustworthy learning. So on behalf of NASSCOM FutureSkills, we look forward to a very strong partnership with DeakinCo that enables citizens in India to be more prepared for the world of the future. Thank you very much. Back to you, Ravneet.
Thank you, Amit. And I can assure you that Deakin University is very, very happy to be a partner to this journey. And with my Vice Chancellor here, I can say that we are committed to the future of the growing partnership between India and Australia. I now have the pleasure of introducing a key member of this association, Mr. Shivendra Singh, who is the Vice President and Head Global Trade Development for NASSCOM. Shivendra actually is very, very interested in enhancing a much stronger partnership between India and Australia. And my colleagues from the High Commission are closely working with NASSCOM to do that. Shivendra is responsible for global positioning of NASSCOM and industry. His primary role is to develop, direct, strategize, and implement all NASSCOM international efforts regarding market development, policy advocacy, communication, and outreach activities. Thank you, Shivendra, for supporting our initiatives at Deakin University, and we look forward to working with you. We look forward to hearing a few words from you.
Thank you so much, Ravneet. I think it's indeed a huge pleasure to be a part of such an esteemed set of panelists, and it's a great day. And so when I have Amit who precedes me, it's always great because I'm trying to see how we can build future skills engagements globally. And believe you me, the reaction or the response has been phenomenal. And this is one part of things which we see growing in a very, very rapid way. So I'm extremely happy and a huge congratulations for this partnership. I just wanted to kind of spend a few minutes on how the tech industry in India has pivoted. And it has pivoted very, very successfully. And I'm extremely proud to say that, while we were able to transition more than 95% of the industry workforce to work from home as COVID began, we were playing an even more important and critical role as far as the tech work was concerned globally. Whether it was managing critical infrastructure, including health infrastructure, working on development of the vaccine, or online education. I think all of that has really, gained ground, and the industry has been performing, work of as an essential service, and that's been greatly appreciated around the world. In terms of service lines, we do see a transition, where we are seeing that more emphasis is being laid on workforce automation, cloud migration, cybersecurity, and a few other areas. But digital, as Amit said, technology is becoming all pervasive. So is digital. And, when we look at the whole digital transformation piece, that's one area which still has a positive growth of about 1.5% when all the numbers have become negative. This still continues to hold fort. I'm so glad that North America is still being resilient, and banking financial services is also resilient. But for all this digital transformation to happen, I think it's very, very important that, from the supply side, we focus on development of the right skill set. And I think today is a great example where, it's very, very important that we're able to boost the supply, and this partnership which we have between FutureSkills and DeakinCo can really help in, promoting that, skill set growth, which is very important. When I look at, the Indo-Australian tech partnership, I've seen rapid growth in that, and although it's been a small partnership, we are trying our level best to see how we can grow it. So for example, TCS and Macquarie University have a partnership. HCL recently acquired DWS and created about 700 jobs. Ola is doing well. Wipro, for example, has been declared one of the best top employers. So the large companies have been doing quite well. I think one of the responsibilities that we have is to look at promoting, the large chunk of SMBs that we call, and we are working to look at, enhancing those partnerships, as we move forward. Another area of focus is the startup engagement, and as we all know, NASSCOM has a 10,000 startup program. We also have a deep tech, set of companies in various sectors. The whole idea is to kind of look at how we can look at creating a win-win scenario between the two sides, on this front. One challenge which I just wanted to mention, which probably, given that both our high commissioners are here, when we had the recent head of states virtual meet between Australia and India, I think both sides discussed the issue of taxation of offshore income of Indian firms through the use of Indo-Australian double tax avoidance agreement, and sought an early resolution of that. I think this is going to be important as we navigate the whole process. And I just want to, highlight this because this can really, really help move things forward in a very quick way. But today is a, day which is an extremely, happy day for me, and huge congratulations again, Ravneet, for all the hard work that you put in for this partnership. And we look forward to it growing up. Over to you, Ravneet.
Thank you very much, Ravindra, and I can assure you that I'm sure the High Commissioners will support our initiative of bringing together a more closer collaboration between India and Australia through NASSCOM initiatives and through your presence in Australia. Friends, it is indeed my honor and privilege now to introduce His Excellency, the Honorary Barry O'Farrell, the Australian High Commissioner to India. At Deakin, we wish to thank you, High Commissioner, and your team for all the support extended to our initiatives over the years. Mr. O'Farrell was announced as Australia's High Commissioner to India on Tuesday, 18th February. He served in the Parliament of New South Wales, including as the state's 43rd Premier between 2011 and 2014. As Premier, Mr. Farrell initiated and led annual trade missions to India to promote economic, cultural, and social links between New South Wales and the state of India. He has also served as New South Wales Special Envoy for India and has made a significant contribution as the Deputy Chair of the Australia-India Council Board. Your Excellency.
Thank you, Ravneet. And I have to say that whilst it's a pleasure to join you all today, as my CV demonstrates, I'm probably the least skilled person on the panel. Education, research and skills are the key pillars of the Indian-Australian relationship, and the governments of both our countries are encouraging cooperation for greater partnerships and opportunities between Australian and Indian industry and institutions, and that's what we celebrate here today. Both of our nations value highly education. We also share a goal to prepare our citizens so they're well equipped to pursue opportunities in our increasingly globalised and technological economy. It's this type of common interest and understanding that provides a strong basis for the future of Australia-India relations. And this was highlighted by both our Prime Ministers in their June virtual summit, where they agreed to elevate our ties to the level of a comprehensive strategic partnership. Now, education underpins the progress of both our nations, and as India continues its ambitious skills reform agenda, there are many opportunities for collaboration with Australia. This partnership today between DeakinCo and NASSCOM FutureSkills is a great example of a world-class Australian institution working with a world-class Indian industry to build a stronger, more productive workforce by preparing them for the future of work. The inexorable advance of emerging technology is recasting all industries and requires leaders to embrace new capabilities and turn new technologies into competitive advantages. NASSCOM FutureSkills has already enabled thousands of IT professionals to be future ready by creating a culture of continuous learning, collaboration and co-creation. And DeakinCo is a perfect partner to escalate this to the next level by building new skills and improving workforce performance. And as we all know, India's digital leap is well underway. With more than 500 million internet subscribers, India is already one of the largest and fastest growing markets for digital consumers, and the rapid growth is propelled by both public and private sector actions. But that's just part of it. Of the world's next billion internet users, half will be Indian. By any measure, India has become a digitally advanced nation, and COVID-19 has accelerated India's digital reset even further. This DeakinCo and NASSCOM partnership is a significant digital combination. It'll accelerate a successful digital transformation between India and Australia by fostering a multi-dimensional framework towards digital learning. There are many elements that make India and Australia natural partners in knowledge creation, innovation, and research. We share the same challenges like climate change, the growth and impact of new technology, and of course, the future shape of work. There are gains to be made from the emerging technology and research expertise in India. And Australia's globally recognised universities and research agencies make valuable partners for Indian institutions and researchers to tackle these global issues. I'm pleased this partnership harnesses the fourth industrial revolution by adapting new age technologies. It reinforces the culture of lifelong learning, skilling and upskilling, and preparing individuals with skills relevant to the industry to make them job ready. Education emerging workforces with modern tools and techniques is the only solution to Industry 4.0. As India continues to pursue its ambitious skills reform agenda, Australia concluded a new MOU in vocational education and training to try and drive new partnerships in policy development, program delivery and information exchange. Now, I passionately believe that high quality competency-based training linked to the needs of industry gives people the best chance to obtain employment and broaden the range of opportunities and lifestyle choices available to them for the future. And it's partnerships like this here which build the future strength of the Australia-India relationship. I'm very conscious, given my background, that it's one thing to announce a policy, it's another to give it practical implementation. And today we celebrate this initiative, which takes the policy ambitions of our respective governments and makes them a reality through an institution working cooperatively with industry. Now more than ever, the strength and momentum of the India and Australia relationship is important to both nations, and our education goals are becoming increasingly aligned. And hopefully, Mr. Singh, so too will our taxation goals. I'm excited to be contributing to the future by supporting the growing education and skills relationship between DeakinCo and NASSCOM. In closing, and on a personal note, I want to recognise the importance of Deakin University's commitment to the Australia-India education relationship. Deakin has developed into a key conduit of the Australia-India education relationship and has been a leader in supporting student and researcher mobility, as well as academic and industry partnerships. And it's fitting that Deakin does so, because our second Australian Prime Minister, Alfred Deakin, travelled to India before he entered national life. He was a journalist. He fell in love with India and wrote 2 books about it before he became Prime Minister. The complexities, the contradictions, the colours, the faith, the architecture, the vibrancy of India captivated him. And he returned to India as an evangelist for the opportunities for India. Congratulations to both NASSCOM and Deakin on this wonderful partnership and for bringing to further fruition the vision that Alfred Deakin saw for the great opportunities between Australia and India.
Thank you very much, High Commissioner. And on behalf of Deakin University and NASSCOM, I thank you for your time and your encouraging words. And I can also say on behalf of Deakin University that we are really looking forward to working closely under your leadership here as the High Commissioner. I now take the opportunity to extend our heartiest welcome to our Indian High Commissioner to Australia, Mr. Hitesh Sharma. He has worked for the Indian Foreign Service since 1986. He has worked in the Ministry of External Affairs as Under Secretary, Europe East, and Director Central Asia. His foreign assignments include Indian missions to Moscow and various other countries around the world. Sri Sharma served as the Ambassador of India, Uzbekistan, and the High Commissioner to Fiji. He's also served as Joint Secretary and Additional Secretary prior to his appointment as Secretary West in the Ministry of External Affairs. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ravneet, and absolute pleasure to join this rather star-studded panel. I'm very happy to hear about myself, but let me add something which Ravneet, you did not mention. This session, in fact, brings out some rather pleasant memories. I have also worked with a designation sounding rather similar to Mr. Amit Agrawal. I was OSD IT-enabled services with Government of Andhra Pradesh in the late 90s and early 2000s. And I really saw very closely the way that NASSCOM contributed in such a huge way to prepare for this IT expansion in India. And NASSCOM had a huge role in driving India to the status of a world power in IT and IT-related services. Now I'm in, well, I could further add here that I also did study in boarding school in India with Australian teachers. So having that kind of background, I'm pretty excited about this partnership in the making. Deakin University, I would heartily endorse this sense that it's a leading university, not only of Australia, but of the world. So therefore, this is a wonderful partnership and wonderful news for our relations. We are now living in rather challenging times. The COVID-19 pandemic has, in fact, changed the way we are doing business, and frequently we are meeting in this format. That itself would show that we are beating the pandemic by using technology. While change is inevitable, technological growth and the circumstances of the pandemic has accelerated the adoption of digital technology. Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Morrison, in fact, they themselves met virtually in June this year. And as Barry mentioned, elevated the bilateral strategic partnership to that of comprehensive strategic partnership. And that really comprehensive, it's not just wordplay. Comprehensive means sky is the limit. You can cooperate in any area, and it's for the long term. It's not a few tactical adjustments. And I think it is in that spirit also we're talking about our partnerships in the areas of education and training. In the summit context, we concluded a new MOU on cooperation in vocational education and training. So that is something that we hope will lead to kind of more joint activity to the advantage of both countries. Therefore, what we must remember today, is technology changes in production techniques and global trading environment have resulted in a need for new skills and related training. I believe later on, Mr. S. Ramadoroy, who enjoys wide respect in the industry, will also give us an flavor of how things are on this front. But definitely something is changing, and we need to prepare for such changes. This Prime Minister Modi has been very, very attentive to this aspect. And if you recall, in as far back as July 2015 itself, on the occasion of World Youth Skills Day, PM Modi launched the ambitious Skill India Mission, or the National Skill Development Mission, aiming to train over 400 million people in India in different skills by 2022. As a result of this kind of initiative, we had the setting up of National Skills Development Corporation. We also had the setting up of the National Skill Development Fund for raising funds from the government and non-government sectors for skill development in the country. We have in the recent period witnessed the disruption of the livelihood of many Indians and also many Indians who are working abroad. We ourselves in our missions have been implementing what is called the Vande Bharat mission, and so far almost 1.5 million Indians have been facilitated to return back to India. And once they return back to India, lies the challenge that they come with certain skills. Are they immediately deployable, or is there something that needs to be done to make them more suited to the demands of the industry? There is this government initiative also, Swadesh Skilled Workers Arrival Database for Employment Support. So this does a skill mapping exercise of returning citizens. So this initiative has helped and should help in returning Indian workforce, matching their skill sets with industry requirements. At the same time, we should not be complacent. And it's really, I mean, if the industry prepares and industry takes the right steps, then we will move with the curve as the patterns of work, patterns of production, as the patterns of economic activity, they change. So we are in harmony, in tune with those changes at all times. I'm also happy to mention about the new national education policy. There was tremendous excitement in Australia to see if there were opportunities for participation in education in India, particularly higher education. So Prime Minister recently reiterated during his Guwahati visit that we are looking to involve foreign universities so that they can set up campuses in India, and they can really do the upscaling of Indian manpower talent or skills. So this is something that the NEP, the National Education Policy, that has very as an integral component the participation of advanced educational institutions from all over the world, and particularly from a country like Australia, particularly from a country which has some wonderful universities, including Deakin, to partner with India. And there are huge kind of the skills that are involved, mind-boggling actually. But I'm sure that working together, we will be able to deliver results. I would like to respond also to Mr. Shivendra Singh, Vice President NASSCOM. Yes, this double taxation issue, as Barry himself has also noted, this is certainly, both governments are working on it, and we are in touch with our Australian friends, colleagues, And given the kind of partnership that is there between our two countries, the understandings that we have, and we work very, very closely on all aspects of our relations, we are certain that this matter will also be dealt in a way that both countries are satisfied, and certainly Indian IT industry will have no reason to complain. So with that, let me wish this discussion, this panel, this program great success. And we hope that there would be some very, very specific activities which we can identify which need more support. And certainly this particular initiative between Deakin and NASSCOM, that we look forward to it flowering and blooming and occupying a very, very important place in our bilateral relations. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, High Commissioner, and your words of encouragement for the Australia-India relationship and the DeakinCo and NASSCOM partnership will go a long way in supporting our initiatives of collaboration between the two countries. It is always a pleasure for me to introduce my Vice Chancellor, Professor Ian Martin, Deakin University President and Vice Chancellor. His vision and mission is to develop graduates who are smart, collaborative, entrepreneurial by instilling a global mindset in them through our partnership with organizations, particularly like NASSCOM. Professor Martin commenced as the Vice Chancellor of Deakin University in July 2019. He has held many leadership profiles in the academia globally. He grew up in the UK and completed his medical degree, a doctorate and a Master of Education at the University of Leeds. Professor Martin's move from clinical academic career to wider university leadership roles was driven through his passionate belief in the importance of universities and the transformational power of higher education and individuals. And he has been very, very passionate, supportive in the Australia-India relationship and the Deakin relationship in India. Thank you, Professor Martin, for all your support, and over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Ravneet. Your Excellencies, colleagues from NASSCOM, distinguished guests, it's a huge pleasure for me to be here today. Deakin's incredibly proud of its 26-year relationship with India. Underpinning that relationship have been a series of mutually beneficial partnerships, nearly all of which have had support from government and support from industry. And that three-way relationship we see as pivotally important for our ongoing relationship and building further and deeper meaningful partnerships in India. Since 1974, Deakin's ensured that our education is not only academically robust, but prepares students well for their lives and careers beyond university. We know that that education has to be accessible, relevant to people at all stages of their career, whether they're just starting out, advancing their career, or looking to change direction. And that is never more important than now. Regardless of their career stage, staff today and over the next 2 to 5 to 10 years are going to need skills such as entrepreneurial thinking, interpersonal and communication skills, resilience, creativity, flexibility, and critical thinking more than ever. It's not the knowledge that they lack. The knowledge is everywhere. It's how you navigate it and how you apply that knowledge is now so important. Employability and teaching a career-focused mindset is a priority for our university. We're recognized as a leader in innovative teaching and learning. We were established to deliver distance education, and from our earliest days, we've done that. We've moved on from stuffing photocopies into envelopes and sending them around Australia and the world to being a leader in digital delivery. Our experience in designing flexible, stackable courses that are responsive to the education marketplace is growing by the year, and we're really focused now on being student-centric and highly personalized. So we're meeting the needs of students and their employers and the community as and when it's needed. To do that, we absolutely have to have really strong links with industry. You shape, you help, you guide us in terms of telling us what is needed. NASSCOM also deeply understands the importance of these links between academia and industry. We see great potential in this kind of linkage and this linkage in particular. We're so much looking forward to working alongside you to deliver short courses that reimagine how such needed skills can be taught, and continuing together to pioneer online learning and what is possible in this space. Just before this meeting started, we were chatting online about how much COVID-19 has challenged us, but at the same time, it's gained a level of acceptance of high quality online education that in ordinary circumstances would have taken years to develop. It's a real opportunity for us to seize that now. We're really proud to join forces with NASSCOM to help progress India's vision to become a leading digital economy and to share that journey and to be part of what is a vibrant and growing Australia-India partnership in so many areas. The pace of disruption and transformation has increased this year to levels that we could not have imagined even 12 months ago. And I think that challenge of how we re-equip and reskill our workforce is only going to grow. We can't look to simply take the products of the school system or the university system. It's about re-equipping the staff and the skills that we have already to make sure that we can quickly address the new needs. This association with NASSCOM is going to help provide the IT industry workforce with the modern skills that they're going to need over the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years. As a university, our education philosophy is underpinned by the idea of lifelong learning. That has to be the mindset for our employers and our employees if we're all going to adapt and thrive in the coming years. I've absolutely no doubt that delivering these short courses via NASSCOM's FutureSkills platform will enable us to innovate in course design and not only bring benefit to your staff, your students, but also that'll come back to Deakin and the wider community through what we're able to do through those learned experiences. To take advantage of self-paced, wholly online short courses, others do, but to do it in the way that we're proposing, I think gives a unique and new level of quality and relevance. I've enjoyed my engagement with India hugely. I first traveled to India as a student in 1984, and I've been back many, many times. And to see the country develop over what is 3.5 decades now, which is quite scary to think about, has been quite extraordinary. But underpinning that development is absolutely the potential of the Indian population and the importance of education. And it's an absolute privilege for Deakin to be part of that, and to do it in partnership and linkage with NASSCOM is truly wonderful. I think NASSCOM are leading the way in thinking about the next generation of workforce upskilling, and our aims to work with you more closely could not be more passionately held by our organisation. Thank you for your engagement, and I'm so excited to see this developing.
Thank you very much, Ian. And I have no doubt that with your leadership and your support, the Deakin relationship with India will go miles ahead of what it has been. And I'm really looking forward to engaging and supporting India in its initiatives of skilling, upskilling, reskilling for the workforce of the future. Thank you so much, Vice Chancellor. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my indeed pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for the session, a very dear personality in India. He is on the Deakin Advisory and plays a dynamic role in determining our initiatives in India. Mr. Subramaniam Ramdurai, recipient of the Padma Bhushan, the prestigious civilian award in India. He is a former chairman of TCS and as a public servant has served as chairman of National Skills Development Agency and National Skills Development Corporation. And his approach was to standardize the skilling effort, ensure quality and commonality of outcomes by leveraging technology, and create an inclusive environment to co-create, collaborate, and coexist. Mr. Ramdurai is currently the chairman of the advisory board of Tata Tribe, which is the Tata Group CSR Skill Development Initiative, and the chairman of Tata Technologies Limited. He also serves as the chairman on the Council of Management at the National Institute of Advanced Studies and the chairperson of the governing board of the Tata Institute of Social Sciences. In recognition of his commitment and dedication to the IT industry, he was awarded the prestigious Padma Bhushan, India's third highest civilian honor, in January 2006. In April 2009, he was awarded the CBE, Commander of the Order of the British Empire, for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, for his contribution to the Indo-British economic relationship. In 2016, he was also awarded the Economic Times Lifetime Achievement Award for his glorious contributions to Tata Consultancy Services. We are privileged to have you, Mr. Ramdurai, and we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts.
Thank you, Ramneet. His Excellency, Honorable Barry O'Farrell, AO, Australian High Commissioner of India, His Excellency Shri A. Gitesh Sharma, Indian High Commissioner to Australia, Professor Ian Martin, President and Vice Chancellor, Deakin University, Amit Agarwal, CEO, IT-ITES Sector Skill Council, NASSCOM, Sir Glenn Campbell, CEO, DeakinCo, Sir Shivendra Singh, Vice President and Head Global Trade Development, NASSCOM, of course, our own Ramneet Pawar, Deputy VP Global, Deakin University and CEO, South Asia, all the other participants. It's a pleasure being here on the DeakinCo and NASSCOM FutureSkills program, which is both timely and an absolute need, not only in this country, but across the globe. NASSCOM has contributed a lot to the Indian IT industry, whether it was in policy, it was in local chapters, connect with the global, building a unique brand. And similarly, Deakin's presence in India for 26 years means a lot, so that the lay of the land and implementation issues will get addressed very well in this initiative. All of us know that we are passing through a very testing time because of the pandemic, and it's having a severe impact on every aspect of our lives, including commerce, including the livelihood, etc., etc. The number of persons who have been affected are increasing on a daily basis, but our struggle to understand and come out with a vaccine is going at an enormous speed. And more importantly, on a digital platform, collaboration across continent, across researchers, across universities, and across manufacturing entities. And I'm sure once the right vaccine is found, the distribution and making it available at a cost to every citizen in any part of the world will become very possible. As I said, India is predicted to be the second largest economy by 2050. And to sustain the leadership position is expected, and as the fastest growing economy in the world. During the pandemic, there has been a certain set of issues which I'm sure will get addressed as we go into the future or into the next year. I think the demographic dividend, I can go on, but that's one of the fundamental positives of this country. But more importantly, when the supply side issue was being discussed, how do you channel their passion, how do you channel their creativity, and how do you skill them in a digital platform becomes the more important question in addition to the demographic dividend itself. I think the policy push which the government of India has put together as part of the Skill India mission and the reforms and labor laws which are being addressed as we speak, they will definitely alter the informed workforce into a trained formal workforce. Changing the 97-98% of the informal workforce to the formal workforce is going to be the opportunity, and with the youth and the digitization and the connectivity, this makes it really possible, and the relationships like Deakin and NASSCOM will make it happen in addition to the other initiatives. I think with the information technology and digitization capability, India is already poised for a greater impact in the next decade. I mean, the series of global megatrends, such as rapid urbanization, demographic shifts, changes in global economic power, political shifts, and technology are influencing the way businesses are run. A simple example of the work from home, how the IT industry has transformed itself, is a case in point. Within a very, very short time, work from home became a model and a reality, very similar to the early IT initiatives of this country, where offshoring was a way of life, which is again this industry propagated throughout the world. The world has already entered into an exciting and unprecedented phase in technology, and the pace of change and innovation is accelerating so fast and more so with the onslaught of COVID. Across every single industry, every single corporation, every single social entrepreneur, and the entrepreneurs themselves, I think digitization and connectivity has become a way of life. This means this pace of change. The employees need to take a very proactive role so that we build the skills of the future and it's future ready rather than reacting when a situation arises. I think the employers first need to understand the skills they will need to remain competitive and innovative. The next step would be to understand how best to prepare and train the current workforce, as well as prepare to source, recruit, and hire the talent of the future. I think India is currently in the midst of a fundamental transformation, given the way we all work. Two distinct advantages are our competitiveness with the labor pool availability and the affordability of the same, the very rich talent pool, like I said. I mean, this has increased the global competitiveness from this country as essentially a knowledge-based economy. Education and skill training are both strategic necessities that will deliver employment or entrepreneurship for the future, and this must be enhanced on a daily basis. And the lifelong learning we all talked about during this session is absolutely crucial. The productivity, in addition to the labor cost, will play a very critical role, and that's where digitization makes all the difference. India has been a front runner in various revenues, and the government, of course, has established various measures to increase the employability of the youth. But the current ecosystem of skills need to be re-engineered to cater to the evolving growth story and demands of what we call as the Industry 4.0. We also need to think about India's pivotal role in pushing the educational reforms brought forward by the new national education policy, which our High Commissioner to Australia also touched upon. And this is one of the far-reaching education policies any country has attempted, and to put it together in an understandable form in minimal number of pages, but more so focusing on implementation and a collaboration, and the importance of digitization and future skills comes out very, very effectively. The policy will help in bringing about a radical transformation in the mindset of the youth through proactive interventions and erasing any social stigma that may be attached to vocational training programs. And Australia's contribution in the vocational space, in addition to the others, is exemplary, and we must leverage that through this partnership with Deakin. The distinction between educational and vocational education should disappear, giving way to the seamless transition between the two, and that's what is being attempted by the new education policy. A child must learn vocational skills over and above his or her academic education to survive in the future job market. However, the growth story of India will have to be supported by sufficient innovation, increased use of technology, reforms in education and skill development sector, matching it with, of course, the investments. And investments like these and platforms like this will go a long way. And the industries that are part of the fourth industrial revolution recognize the need to develop a holistic strategy to be competitive. The organization needs to build a workforce that understands the culture and dynamics of the company to start with, the product, what they build, what they sell, or what is its relevance to the future, as well as what industry they are participating in. It's now clear that automation will result in a major disruption in the way we work and the way the work is being done, and attributes like creativity, innovation, imagination, and design skills will gain prominence in the curriculum vitae or resumes of the job seekers. The need for some skills such as technological as well as social and emotional skills will rise, even as the demand for others, including physical and manual skills, will fall. Skills like communication, collaboration, being a team player, reasoning, creativity, innovation, etc., will find more prominence in the post-COVID world and also as the skills of the future workforce. One more thing that this pandemic has created is the urge upon us to be more considerate to the environment, like recycling, reuse, etc. And the future will behave the way we create the present. And for that, we will need to uphold all these skills, Companies too will need to rethink how work is organized within their organizations, which they are doing. We also need to design a new framework for the skills of the future, taking into account the cognitive skills such as critical thinking, emotional intelligence, empathy, management and leadership, relationship building and collaboration, cognitive flexibility and creativity. These skills could be common across all industries and will be over and above the basic science, technology, engineering and mathematics that are related to the emerging technologies and different vocations. These new skill sets need not replace the existing skill demand, rather they will be required in addition to the current skill set. Rapid technological advancements and innovations brought on by artificial intelligence and machine learning have reshaped the landscape in which we work, as well as the skills one deemed necessary to common jobs. There's no doubt that technology has and will continue to replace and transform tasks across industries and functions. However, digital transformation presents potential for growth too. New tasks and jobs are being created, providing new opportunities for those that are willing to diversify their skill set. And it's more than willing, it is a necessity, and a lifelong learning, as I said, is going to be a way of life. The future of work and careers will see the paradigm shift to keep us with the rapidly changing environment. The above challenges are uniform across the length and breadth of the country, except in a few isolated pockets where the best practices by industry and training providers have resulted in significant strides in quality training. It is important, therefore, for all the stakeholders to come together and resolve the challenges of the skills ecosystem to achieve the aim of the Skill India mission, namely skilling with speed, scale, and quality, and making the workforce ready for the future technologies. However, as compared to 60 to 90% of the workforce in developed economies, only 10.8% of the total Indian workforce has undergone any kind of skill training, 2.2% with formal training and 8.6% with informal training. I would request and urge NASSCOM to explore the possibility of ramping up technological solutions to address the needs of the skilled workforce. With the government's focus on digitization and aiming to connect villages across India by optic fiber, I think by optic fiber network in the next 3 years, as announced by our Honorable Prime Minister, will certainly help implement some solutions. Also, with the stellar support of DeakinCo, FutureSkills can surely aim to skill and train the youth for a digitally enabled India and a digitally prepared workforce. To prepare a workforce of the future, the task to be carried will become more demanding in both technological and organizational terms. Multi-skilling and attributes will have growing importance, while technological skill will remain indispensable. One will have to ensure that there is a correct and conducive environment to cater to the changing demands. The trainers will also have to be upskilled to match the pace of change and play a much bigger role in shaping the future. The COVID-19 crisis has certainly offered an opportunity to reinvent the skilling of the 21st century, riding on the back of much talked about post-industrial revolution. Today, technology has penetrated into every aspect of our life. The pace of change is indeed astonishing and was not entirely foreseen even by the industry stakeholders. The skills of the future will need to impart training in critical thinking, like I said, relationship building and collaboration, and empathy, cognitive flexibility, and creativity. Because of the importance, I'm just repeating this, the nature of work and careers is changing fast, and in the future, the right skills will be prized over academic qualifications. COVID-19 slowdown offers employers an opportunity to reshape their hiring practices around the shifting paradigm. Certainly, the change in the mindset of an organization will define their future performance. With so many human resource trends taking off over the next decade, we are seeing a major shift in the priorities. Generic soft skills will enable existing workforce and new entrants to brave the onslaught of technology disruptions. STEM education at school level will drive innovation and spur creativity, which will go a long way in building a strong foundation for the future of the workforce. I would congratulate again, wish the very best for NASSCOM FutureSkills and Deakin and all the people behind who are supporting this to make it a real reality and the impact not only within India, but on a global basis. Thank you so much. Congratulations to all again. All the best.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramdurai. I think your thoughts and your insights give us a whole new energy into this relationship. And I have no doubt that both NASSCOM, FutureSkills, and Deakin University will continue to work very closely to build solutions, not just for India, but for preparing the future of the workforce globally. Thank you so much for your contribution and your insights. Before I hand over to my colleague, Glenn, for his closing remarks and the vote of thanks, may I have the permission to ask a few questions which have come through to the speakers. High Commissioner Barry O'Farrell, one question is coming to you, which talks about what do you see as the big challenges in the path of recovery post-COVID between the Australia-India relationship?
Look, I think the biggest challenge is the most obvious, which is COVID itself, vaccine, because whilst we can do many connections virtually, there are other collaborations, other linkages that require face-to-face contacts. But I think the ambitions both governments have for this relationship are extraordinarily high. I think events like today show that flesh can be put on the bones of those ambitions by people that who have skin in the game, if I can mix my analogies. But I'm confident about it all. But until we get through this pandemic, until we see the advent of a vaccine, I think this disrupted world is going to slow us down a little bit.
Thank you, High Commissioner. High Commissioner Gitesh Sharma, a question for you. India traditionally has mostly a look-west policy. What do you think are going to be the changes in pandemic as well as post-pandemic times with collaboration with Australia, and where do you see the future?
I think I said that this is a very, very special period in India-Australia relations. I think when we are talking about India looking towards the West, it is, I think in foreign policy terms, a long time ago. I think look east and act east came after that. And today with Australia, we have a very, very robust relations. I did mention that we have in 10 years elevated our relations from strategic partnership to comprehensive strategic partnership. And as I said, that this is not just a set of terms. It really means that we are comfortable discussing almost any subject. Strategic means it is for the long haul. We are there together. It's not some tactical alliance. If today NASSCOM and Deakin are working together, they see the benefits over a very long period of time. So I think if there is any time for us to get together and understand each other's requirements and work together in a way which is win-win, this is the moment. And Australia definitely occupies a very, very special place in India's relations. The avoidance of double taxation issue was mentioned. And believe me that we have such relations today that we are able to very comfortably put across to the other side issues which are of concern to us. And we are always assured that the other side takes very serious note and tries its best to address these concerns. So the overall framework, therefore, at the level of prime ministers, at the level of governments, industry, it's a situation which is very different from what we might have imagined when I began my own career, for instance, in 1986. It is very special, and I think it's for us now to take advantage of that. And again, let's build a win-win partnership.
Thank you very much, High Commissioner. Quick question to my colleagues from NASSCOM. Shrivendra, where do you see the future of collaboration with specifically NASSCOM and Australia?
Well, I think, the fact that, we are very small, the business is about a few $1 billion. When I compare it to the US, which is our #1 export market, which is nearly $80 billion, there is a huge, potential to grow. And I think the timing is absolutely correct. Both the High Commissioners highlighted the extremely close ties that India and Australia have. From a tech industry perspective, I did highlight the fact that, the large companies notwithstanding, which are doing amazingly good work, there is a huge potential to promote the SMB business, which is about 2,000 plus companies, which we are working very aggressively on, trying to diversify into other global markets. The startup community engagement is another one that we're putting in a lot of effort. And skilling, I think, is a good one. So when I look at the potential, I think the potential is enormous. Even for one of our large companies, Australia is probably the second largest market. So it's not that the opportunities are not there. I think the opportunities are there. I think in a structured way, we probably need to work on building this engagement. And today is a great example of that. And we will continue to look at the various elements and try and see how we can build this partnership. But I'm quite bullish about this partnership, and we will grow quite rapidly.
Thanks very much. Professor Martin, a question for you. What is Deakin's future collaboration with India looks like from your perspective?
I think it's a vital part of Deakin's future. It will be built on mutually beneficial partnerships where we're working in the main in India, with India, for India, to really build capability. And I think that those characteristics have underpinned our success stories to date, and that will continue to be. We will be doing it with partners. Our strength has come from mutually beneficial partnership, not Deakin going in on its own. And we'll continue to seek out partners where we can work together and bring our capabilities to the table to produce mutual benefit.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor. Mr. Ramdurai, one question before I pass it on to Amit and then to Glenn. As a contributor to the Indian policy scenario for a long time, and as being a critical leader and decision maker, what do you think India needs to do in the technical space, including the sort of building of the skills going into the future? And what do you think roles of educational institutions in the country and internationally will be?
Well, I think it's a great question where quite a bit of it has been addressed in the national education policy. But the actual advocacy starts with the schools, the parents, encouraging education and digital education and vocational education through the digital medium are going to be absolutely necessary, and the future of learning is going to be very different from what it is. Anywhere, anytime, any place, and affordable is going to be the mantra. I think the second thing is collaborations are going to be very critical, and the entrepreneurship energy of the youth across the world must be completely energized. I mean, what can Australia-India collaboration do is the intellectual property that is being created in Australia or in collaboration with India can be leveraged for global good rather than only Australia as a market or just India as a market. Everybody knows Australia, the population is small, the consumption will be based on that population, but the intellectual property and the wealth of intellectual property creation through the universities like Deakin would make it happen. I can remember early 2000 when we bought a small company in Australia, which was Melbourne based, on a banking software which became the core of everything which we do on the banking space itself. But that banking space is not only India, but across the world, but the intellectual property originally came from Australia. So there are numerous areas, whether it is health, whether it's sports, whether it's medicine, whether it is science, whether it is technology, agriculture, materials, you name it. I think these are the kind of demand, these are the kind of things, and of course environment and the strategic collaboration with the two prime ministers signed up. The opportunity has to be leveraged, opportunity must be encouraged, and the youth must be skilled to make it happen. And that's what I would say. We have to look at Industry 4.0 and the future that is holding for all of us together. Ideas and innovations are going to play out in a digital medium. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Amit, the last question for you. Post the pandemic, what do you think are the critical skills that the IT industry will need?
Thanks, Ravneet. So, two massive shifts that are happening are the move to cloud and the need for data science. There's just so much data there. So right now, we actually see the largest focus being in these two areas in terms of skill. One is everybody's got to figure out how to work on the cloud. And the second is everybody needs to figure out how to work with large amounts of data. So if young people and people who are working today need to reskill and figure out what they need to do different, these are two things that we would highlight that I think are going to really drive opportunity for companies and for individuals across India and the world, frankly.
Thanks very much, Amit. Thank you all very much. I'd now like to pass on for closing comments and vote of thanks to Glenn.
Thanks, Ravneet. I'd like to convey my sincere thanks to all our speakers today. I'd like to just recap on some of the key themes that have come through, starting with our respective High Commissioners. His Excellency, the Honourable Barry O'Farrell AO, and His Excellency Agitesh Sharma, both talked about the importance of relationships and partnerships between our two nations, and particularly that of education and industry as a cornerstone to the growth of both our nations. My Vice-Chancellor, Ian, continued on with that theme of relationships and talking around again, both the relationship between our two countries, but also amongst government and industry and the education sector. The acceleration of the acceptance of online education has certainly been something that has exacerbated in a very positive way that will continue to change the way that our work, our home life will evolve at a faster rate than what we thought it would only say, well, I could probably say actually 6 months ago. I was going to say 12, but let's call it 6. Mr. Ramadorai looked at some of the themes around the importance of education throughout our careers and throughout our life, from those early years right through now, throughout the careers. He also touched on that element around the change and that acceleration of change and how that is impacting in a very similar, like Ian mentioned, in that it is impacting quite significantly now at a faster rate. Industry 4.0 has always been there for a number of years now, but the acceleration and change of pace is certainly picking up. It was good to hear there's those two elements of skills, the technical skills that we've always focused on and we always need to continue focusing on, but also those professional skills of communication, collaboration and innovation, which go to the core of what DeakinCo focuses in on and helps business and industry with. And of course, we have two communication courses as the first two offers with the FutureSkills program on offer free of charge for the first period of time. And we'll continue to look at exploring and opening up the professional skills that we have to our FutureSkills platform. And that does lead me to Amit and Shivendra, who again, not unsurprising, looked at those two elements of skills, the technical skills and the professional skills. But also, I think quite important that a comment that Amit made very early on around that every industry is in fact a technology industry. And that is so true as we move forward and as we've seen through the impact of COVID-19 this year, as Shivendra pointed out. I'd like you and ask all of us that have been here throughout the past hour and a little bit to join me in a vote of thanks to all of our speakers for their time in sharing their insights and ideas and coming together to do that with us all on this day. My thanks to everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much and have a lovely day and stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.